Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webcast, Hiring and AI. Keep the best for the rest. Sponsored by Assess First. This webcast has been pre-approved for HRCI and SHRM credit. It is now my pleasure to turn it over to our presenter, David Bernard.
Hello everybody. So I'm very happy to be with you today to talk about hiring and AI and how AI can help you make better decisions. Better hiring decisions. So I'm gonna begin with a quick introduction of myself. So as you just said, I'm David Bernard. I'm a French psychologist, as you can hear probably. I'm specialized in quantitative psychology, and I'm the founder and CEO of Assess First. And beside of that, I also developed several algorithms for the dating industry to help people find the love of their life, which is quite the same as we do in HR, but instead of helping people meet people, we help people meet jobs and companies, so that's quite the same. What is Assess First? So Assess First is a company I founded in 2002 with my best friend and now partner, Alexis Teplitsky. And at the very beginning, when we established Assess First, it was more of a psychometric test publisher, psychometric test editor. So we developed different test questionnaires to assess criteria such as personality, motivations, personal values, managerial competencies. And we did that job during approximately 10 years. And in 2012, like anybody else in the industry, so we saw, the big data trend of predictive analytics coming from everywhere. So we saw a big opportunity because we said to ourselves, what if we move from a purely descriptive approach to a more predictive approach? What if we gather all that information we can have with our tests and help our clients predict how well their candidates or employees are going to succeed and thrive in the job they are hiring for? So that's what we do. And so here we are today to talk about hiring and AI, but before diving into that subject, I would like to ask you a simple question. What do we all have in common, we as human beings? The answer is quite simple. We are all in a quest for happiness. And that quest for happiness, it can be different for everybody. Some people are chasing youth, beauty, eternal youth. Some people try to find happiness by buying very expensive designer clothes. Some people prefer fancy cars. Some people would love to party as if it was the last day of their life every day. Some people are in a quest to find the most Instagrammable holidays ever. And some people are chasing fame. But is that the magic formula for happiness? So what is very interesting is that we actually have studies about that subject. When we consider all the criteria that can have an impact on our level of happiness on a daily basis, we can see that almost half of those criteria are under the influence of our gene, our genetics. It means that half of those criteria are totally out of our control. But when we consider the remaining 50%, actually in psychology, we found a magic formula of happiness. And that magic formula, it tells us that to be fully happy, it's better if we have good health, of course, but it's also very important to be in a very fulfilling job, in a job in which we'll have the capacity, the opportunity to express who we are and our talent. And it's also very important to live with the love of our life. It's helping to be happy. Talking about the love, did you know that on average, we have to meet between 5 and 14 sexual partners to get married? That's the numbers. The numbers in Europe, of course, in France, it can be a bit more of that. But when we consider all the people who are married, after just 7 years, 46% of them will end up being in a divorce. Let's have a look now at the people who will stay in a relationship. When we consider those people, 2 out of 3 will end up in an unfulfilling relationship. So only 1 out of 3 of those remaining couples, married couple, will be happy over the long term. It means that only 18% of the people who will get married will be happy. It means that there is an 82% failure rate on our personal life when we are talking about being married and meeting the love of our life. But is it the same thing when we consider life in the workplace? In fact, something really seems to be broken in the way we hire people. Why? Because when we follow 100% who've just been hired over the course of 18 months, what will happen? After just 6 months, on average, 70% of them will be out of the job. It can be because they decided to quit or because they've been fired, whatever, they will not be in the company after 6 months. After 1 year, it's more than one third of them. And after 1 year and a half, it's 46% of people who will be out of the job. What it means is that today, in 2019, on average, when we hire somebody, 1 time out of 2, it ends up being a failure. But the most interesting part of the story is why does it happen so frequently? And 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with the technical skills of people. When people are fired or when they decide to quit, it's not because they lack the technical skills or the knowledge to succeed on the job. It's more because of the behavioral related problems. It can be, for example, because the personal values of the candidate are not aligned with what makes the corporate DNA of the company. It can be because there is a misalignment between the behaviors that lead to success in a specific job and the behaviors that the person is likely to demonstrate on a daily basis. Or it can be because there is a misfit between the candidate and their future manager or the entire team. So this is a big problem. But most important than that, I don't know if you have that statistic in mind, but on average, we are all going to spend, on average, 80,000 hours at work. 80,000 hours at work is 54% of our time awake, which equals 1/4 of our entire life. What it means is that, on average, in your whole life, you're going to spend more time with your manager, your colleagues, your collaborators, your employees, than with your family, your husband, your wife, your friends, your children. So we really think that it's time for us to reinvent how we hire people and how we develop talents within the organizations. But if we want to do that, we have to follow a specific path. It's very important first to help people express their full potential. And what we believe at Assets First is that everybody has potential. Of course, we're not going to lie. We do not have the same potential. We don't have the same talents, not at the same level. But everybody intrinsically has a potential. And we must also help people live their job with passion. And I know it can sound romantic when we say that. Some of you will probably think that passion, it's not something we have to live in our professional life. It's more for the personal life. But in fact, it's absolutely not romantic. People who are passionate about their job are up to 6 times more performing than people who are not passionate about their job and their work life. And if we want to achieve that, if we want to increase the number we just saw, we have to go far beyond the CV, far beyond the resume of people. Why? Because the resume of people it's all about their past. It's all about what they did. And we have to take a look at who people really are. And more than that, who those people could be if they will arrive in your company. So we can achieve that by looking at the potential of people. Every single human being on earth has a unique combination of three key factors. First, the way in which they think, what motivates them, and the personality, how they're going to behave on a daily basis. So to assess each of those key criteria, we created an assessment model, a quick assessment model, 10 minutes long to complete. First, to assess reasoning ability, you can use BRAIN. With BRAIN, you assess 4 different indicators of the reasoning ability of people. So with that, you can understand how quick people can learn new things, acquire new competencies, which will be more and more important in the future. Second, with drive, you can understand what motivates people. What are their basic needs? What moves them on a daily basis? And with shape, you can assess up to 20 different personality traits. Personality is a key factor because sometimes in psychology, we talk about the psychological backbone of people because our personality is what gives us a consistency in our daily behavior, in the behaviors we demonstrate on a daily basis. And when you analyze all those information and you cross all the data automatically with our algorithm, when you cross all those data concerning reasoning ability, motivation, and personality, you can see what the natural talents of your candidates or employees are. And when we talk about predictive hiring, what it is about. It's very simple. It's all about comparing the natural talent of each of your candidates with what you call a predictive model. And a predictive model, basically, it's like a job description, but it has nothing to do with the school people attended or their previous experiences. It's like a job description, but in terms of personality, motivation, and reasoning ability. And using that, using predictive hiring, you can answer 3 basic questions concerning each of your candidates. Can the person do that job, handle those tasks, those missions, that within a team, with a specific manager, with colleagues, and that in the broader context of your specific company culture. So how do we do that? That's pretty simple. The candidates, once you invite a candidate to complete their profile and assessment, so they can log in using a computer, a smartphone, or a tablet. So they complete their profile on assessment. And after that, automatically, to empower them and to help them have a super cool experience, candidate experience, we give them an access to their profile. So here you can discover my profile, for example. So we give information concerning what are the preferred behaviors of your candidate. We can give them information concerning their personal strong points in their relationship with others, their working style, how they manage their emotions. We give them talent tags, which are basically keywords. Lots of candidates copy and paste those talent tags in their LinkedIn profile. They can also have different advices on how they could be more effective. We give them information on what are their preferred drivers, what motivates them less, okay? So you, as a recruiter, you will access the full report with the 20 different motivations, but here we give them an overview on their result, the way they manage their energy, the activities they prefer, the environment that takes, the management styles they're looking for, the culture in which they blossom, and the way in which they think. And recently, we just added a feature. It's just a share button. And we saw that we have approximately 47% of the candidates who actually now share the profile on LinkedIn. And that is a global phenomenon because we have people from Indonesia who share their profile publicly, but also people from Brazil, from France, from Poland, from the US, of course, from the Netherlands, or people from the UK. And using that simple feature with being able to increase the number of people who complete their full assessment profile, going from 63% to 86%. So for us, that's very, very important because it's a sign that we achieve one thing that was very important for us, which was to create a good experience for your candidates. But of course, we didn't stop there. We, in our way to reinvent the candidate journey, the journey they follow when they have to apply for a job, we ask ourselves, why do people drop out? And the obvious response, obvious answer is because the application process is too long. And too long equals too boring. But let's step back. Let's think about that 2 minutes. It's one thing to spend 1 hour at the dentist, but it's another thing to spend 1 hour with your friend, drinking beer, for example, or enjoying your favorite movie, or having cool activity with the person you love the most. Time is very subjective, And what people are suffering from when they apply for a job, it's more a lack of visibility. Let's put ourselves in the shoes of a candidate. What would happen when they are looking for a new job? Usually, they arrive on the page looking like that. So here I have a list of lots of job advertising. I click on a specific job. I'm reading all that information. It's full of corporate, blah, blah, blah. It's all black and white. The only thing that is in color to attract me is the apply button with the very flashy green. Do you want your candidate to experience that kind of thing? Of course you don't want. So we decided to make it super cool. And this is what the type of job advertising you can have using Elasticsearch. So, of course, you will find all the classical information, like the description of the company, the description of the assignments that are attached to the job. You will also see the key goals. So we decided to add 3 key goals to help the candidate identify what we expect from them. The skills that are important for success, because it's not only about personality and motivation, but also sometimes about technical skills, we know that. And okay, here it's going to be interesting. We add information concerning the future manager. How do we do that? You just have to ask the future manager to complete their own assessor's profile. By doing that, when you create a recruitment campaign, you just have to add the manager to the campaign, you transform it into a job advertising, and automatically, as a candidate, I can virtually meet my future manager. I can see what are their natural management style. I can see, for example, this person is visionary, is a profile of a winner. I can also have information concerning my future colleagues. So I see I'm going to work with Lucie Poirier, Vincent Niesner, or Simon Baron. I can also have an idea of my probability of affinity with them, what drives the team. So, and it's not, like the values you can read sometimes on the corporate website of companies. It's not something that has been created by a consultant or whatever. No, it's really linked, it's directly linked to the assessment of the people inside team. And of course, you also find videos. You can import videos, photos, and lots of things like that. The person can see where they're going to work and the important information concerning salary and benefits. But what is the most important is those information at the very bottom of the page. Before applying to the job, if they already have an assessor's profile or after completing the assessor's profile, they can discover, even before applying, 1, the potential for success on the job, and 2, the potential to thrive on the job. Can you imagine that? before applying to a job, you can have those crucial information. And for us, it was very important because, you know, we had lots of meetings with candidates, and they told us, they all told us the same thing. Okay, sometimes we're not happy with our job, we would like to move, but what refrain us from moving sometimes is that we know what we are living now in our current job, but we don't know. Perhaps the job people are promising to us, the company promised to us, going to be cool, but perhaps it's going to be not cool. How can I say if I'm going to succeed or not? So we give them those information. And after that, they only have to click on the apply button. So here they will arrive on that kind of page. And it's like on Amazon, you know, when you, with the one-click button. So they can click on the technical competencies they have. If they're registered previously with LinkedIn, we retrieved all their technical skills and we highlight it here. And they just have to click on the Send My Application button. And here, they will arrive on that page. And here, what they can do is that they can track in real time the state of their application. So they can know, for example, has my application been reviewed by a recruiter? Have I been selected for an interview or things like that? What we did, we just did of one of the biggest problems. It's what we call the black hole syndrome. You know that syndrome, it's when, as a candidate, you apply for many, you send your resume, and you never hear back from the recruiter most of the time. So we got rid of that. And on the recruiter side, what it will look like is you will have a dashboard looking at that with the list of all of the applicants here. And as you can see, you have a percentage of matching for each and every one of your candidates. So it's a percentage of matching with the predictive model. If I put the mouse up here, for example, we can see the other matching scores. So the first one is for personality, fit for personality. Second one, fit for motivation. Third one, fit for reasoning ability. And we also added a fourth indicator, which is totally optional, but which is very interesting, which is the manager fit. It means that if the future manager, the hiring manager, if they complete their assessor's profile, and if you attach their profile to the hiring campaign, you can see if their managerial style, their leadership style is a good fit with the behaviors, the natural behaviors, the natural temperament of your candidates. So what we advise you to do when you are considering the application of your candidates is to look for people who are a 60% fit, 60% match or more with the predictive model. Why? Because people are not robots. Of course, they can adapt. You don't need to be a 100% match with a job to be a good fit. But as you can see, sometimes this percentage of matching can be misleading. Why? Because of what we call effet de moyenne. Because of the mean, you know, let's imagine, for example, you have somebody with a very strong personality, very strong reasoning ability, but their motivation are very, very, very low. Of course, they're going to be higher than 60%, but by the effect of the mean, they will have a more than 60%, but in fact, they are not such a good match. So, of course, you won't have the time to uncover all the different percentage of matching. So we decided to create like a magic feature. We called it the magic button. And one of the coolest things about the magic button is that when you click on it, you can hear Freddie Mercury thinking it's a kind of magic, but for real. But it doesn't stop here. We also highlight in blue all the candidates that are an absolutely good match with the job, even sometimes if they are a bit below 60%. For example, for Jasmine Moore, I remember her profile. It was because she has very good personality, good reasoning abilities. She was a bit low on a certain aspect of their motivation, but because of our algorithm, thanks to our algorithm, we saw that some of those motivations, they were very contextual and they were very easy to move if we hired that person. And we will highlight in red all the people who are not such a good match. Even like for Alison David, she's a bit over the 60% value we talked about before. So after that, you can click on a specific person, and here you will discover the detailed profile of the person. As you can see, you have the probability for success on the job, the probability for commitment on the job, the affinity with the future manager. And after, if you scroll down, you will discover the profile of Emma Wilson overlaying the predictive model. So it's really easy to read. The green zone stands for the required behaviors, the red zone for the undesired behaviors which are linked to low level of performance. And we highlight the strengths and potential weaknesses for the position. And we do exactly the same for reasoning abilities and also for motivations. So you have the list of the important motivation for the position and also the other motivation. Those motivations are not a requirement to succeed on the job, but we give you an access to them to help you have a better understanding of the dynamic of the psychology of the person. But we didn't stop there. We decided to make it really awesome. As we just saw for Emma Wilson, we can predict how well she's gonna succeed and thrive on the job we want to hire her for. But she is not gonna succeed alone. Let's imagine she's gonna work with Clément. Imagine just 1 second. You just have to click on a button and magically you could have information concerning the professional affinity. That's exactly what we did. Here we are on the profile of Emma. I click on affinity. Here I just have to look for the profile of Clément. I click on it and automatically I will access all the information concerning their probability for matching, for getting well along together. But we also give you information concerning the compatibility of their profiles. Okay, so the complementarity, because it's like in the real life. Sometimes you can have similar profile and collaborate super well with people. Sometimes you are too similar on certain aspect. Let's imagine two people who are a bit aggressive. They don't think very well. So if you make them work together, perhaps it's going to be difficult. So we're going to tell you, are they quite similar or quite complementary profile? And we also give you information concerning the capacity to work together in 7 key areas of collaboration. The way in which you think, how they act, how they interact, how they deal with problems, how they're going to manage conflict they can have over the long term. So every time it's in green, it means that they are very compatible. Sometimes there are gray points. It means that they will have to adapt a bit to make the most of the relationship. And when we have red points, it's just warning. That's not a no-go. It just means that they will have to adapt perhaps a bit more to be able to make the most of their professional relationship. What is very important is that we measured the results our clients, our customers obtained after using Assess First. And they were able, on average, to move from those numbers to those numbers. So they reduced by approximately 50% the departure rate of their people. They reduced their turnover on average by 50%. All while improving the quality of the people who enter their company, because on average, people who've been recruited using predictive hiring, they deliver between 15 and 20% more performance over the course of 1 year. So the thing we did is that we just put again the person, the people at the very center of the hiring process. And that's very important for us. And if I had only one advice to give you before closing, before ending that webinar, it would be to ask yourself a simple question in your journey, in your journey to reinvent the candidate experience, to evolve, to make evolve your hiring practice. I would advise you to ask yourself that question: would I appreciate to be treated like that as a human being? And for us, there can be only two answers to that question. It can be a fuck yes or a hell no. And if it's a fuck yes, do it. It's a no, just stop it. Don't do it. Thank you very much. That's what I wanted to tell you about, to share with you about hiring AI, how it can help you to improve the quality of your candidate experience, but also the performance of your hiring process.
Okay. If you'd like to view this webcast again, the archived recording and slides will be available for up to 7 days for our free members and without restrictions for those with their certification membership. Your feedback is important to us. Please take a moment to fill out the exit survey that opens in a new browser page on your computer. This concludes our webcast. Enjoy the rest of your day.